that's going to test where people really are. These resolutions that are being squabbled about over on the Senate side are simply resolutions that are non-binding, that speaks to the surge. And, you know, the American people are way ahead of the members of Congress and the senators. So, I mean, it is not as if it requires a lot of courage to do that. We're way past that point. And so, good. Let them get something out, and I guess the House will follow. But that does not get to the real question of whether or not you're prepared to cut off this funding.
And do you think there's a big move in Congress to cut it off yet?
No. The people are going to have to force that.
Congresswoman Waters, this is Christian Avon from the Vermont Guardian.
Yes.
Up to 100 towns could pass in Vermont an non-binding impeachment resolution. Do you think that could have any effect in terms of pushing investigations into impeachment from Vermont?
Well, what I think is that it would be very, very helpful in at least putting some fire on the Congress to do some investigations, period, about all of the different things that we have not made any attention to. The questions we have not asked this administration. The Attorney General needs to be brought in there. All of the privacy violations that they have had. I think it will push that. I don't know whether or not it will get to September 11th. The leadership is basically back way off of that idea. I do think it would be helpful to let people know that they are still concerned. Some of you in New York City would like it to happen.
If 100 Vermont towns do pass it on the first Tuesday in March, will that send a strong message to Washington?
Strong message. And I would encourage them to do that.
Congresswoman, how would you describe the change in atmosphere on the Hill compared with what it was before November 7th?
Well, I have to tell you that there's a lot of hope. And people are setting goals and have expectations that we're going to be able to pass good legislation and do good investigations on issues that did not get heard before. So people are fired up and wanting to do good things and are ready to go. It is an absolute change in atmosphere and attitude.
Do you feel any support for the bill that you and you co-sponsor?
Well, I have to tell you this. Lynn Woolsey, Barbara Lee, and I know that we're ahead of the game, and we know that we're pushing them. And this legislation that is a formula for getting out of Iraq is going to be resisted. People won't say they don't like it, but they'll just try and come up with other things to do to keep from having to sign off on it. But that's our job, because we're out on the point on this, is to just push, and do everything that we can to keep the debate going and to force them to have to take this up and come up with a real exit strategy.
Congressman Waters, I'm from New Orleans, and our people here, we want to know something very importantly. No, how do you feel about Bush not mentioning in his State of the Union anything about New Orleans at all?
I think that his non-mention of New Orleans was a real sign that it's not on his radar screen, that he is not focused on it, that he is not making it a priority. I'm on my way to New Orleans tomorrow morning, where I will be meeting with the advocates who come from public housing. I'm going to be over at St. Bernard's. I'm going to walk through St. Bernard's. I'm going to walk through Lafitte. I'm going to walk through these public housing projects, and I'm going to do everything that I can to see which of them can be easily rehabilitated so we can get people back over from Houston and Dallas who want to come home.
Thank you.
And so we're going to put a lot of attention on it. The Senate is going to be there also on Monday, but I'll be doing my walkthroughs and meeting with Hanel, the Housing Authority, to talk about what we can do to quickly move this agenda.
Thank you. And also about rebuilding. We're rebuilding Afghanistan and Iraq. What about rebuilding New Orleans?
Well, I will be meeting with the mayor to talk about the $150,000 subsidy that's supposed to be going to the homeowners from our community development block grant funds that we have sent that's not being used right. Not only are they trying to keep from giving the people all the money and reduce the amounts that they get, they don't have enough assistance in talking about rebuilding. You've got 65 and 70-year-old people who lived in some of these homes 25 and 30 years, and to say, okay, out of the 150,000, you get 60,000, now go rebuild your house. It doesn't work that way. And we're going to straighten that mess out. It's under my subcommittee now.
I thank you on behalf of New Orleans.
You're so welcome.
I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Mr. President. I just want to thank you for the work you do. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay.
Effort in the 1980s to divest from South Africa.
That's right.
Have you heard anything about divesting from the Sudan?
Yes, Barbara Lee has been leading an effort, and it has been taken up by, I think in California, I think we have our public employees fund that adopted it, and I think some cities and city councils are starting to adopt it. But yes, there is an effort that has not blossomed yet, but has gotten started by Barbara Lee.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you think, Congresswoman, that your
Yes.
the legislation that you and Barbara Lee and
Yes.
Lynn Wilsey have introduced, how can the people build grassroots support for that? How about city council resolutions endorsing
All
it,
of
that sort of thing?
Well, that's what we're working on, and we are hopeful in the training that is being done here for Lobby Day that legislation will be in the package of all of the activists that are lobbying the members of Congress, so that they can not only introduce it to some who don't even know about it, but push it and let them know that the American public is behind it. And of course, resolutions adopted by city councils and other legislative bodies will be very helpful. And we'll be working on that.
Thank you for all you're doing, and I would like to thank you. And I want to ask you on the divestment issue, now that we have entered the 40th year of occupation of Palestine.